Hey everybody, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be working on this Nintendo Switch. I bought this off eBay and I paid £61.04 and £3.39 postage, so around about £65 or 85 US dollars roughly for this Nintendo Switch. And the issue with this is that it doesn't connect to Wi-Fi. I paid a little bit more for this because it does come with Joy-Cons, but I have put the Joy-Cons with a OLED Switch, which I'm going to put a mod chip on and then resell. But this one in particular, like I said, I paid £65 for it. It does come with the Joy-Cons, but the issue with this is it doesn't connect to Wi-Fi, so it doesn't actually pick up a Wi-Fi connection at all, and unfortunately it can't be played online because of that. So if you look here, the Wi-Fi connection, it doesn't show any Wi-Fi networks at all, and it's in really bad condition as well. It's actually in a lot worse condition than I initially thought. There's damage to the screen, so you can see some pressure marks on the screen and stuff. But the good thing is I do need a Nintendo Switch motherboard because I can't fix a console that someone sent in for repair, and they want me to find a motherboard for them. So hopefully I can get this working and then just resell the motherboard. I'll just scrap the housing, probably take the battery off it, the Joy-Con rails, and then just sell the housing basically. Scrap the housing basically. But yeah, with that being said, my name's Dakota. I'm an electronics technician. I mainly work on games consoles, but I do work on other stuff as well. So if that's the sort of stuff you're into, be sure to get subscribed and turn on the bell notifications. That way you don't miss any future videos. And if you do want to organise a repair, I do repairs for the public, so get in touch at www.dakota.repair and I'll do my best to work on your device for you as well. With that being said, let's get into today's repair. Today's video is sponsored by PCBWay. Whether you've got a simple project that requires a quick mod board or you want to launch your own products to the world, PCBWay can help. With fantastic pricing on multi-layer PCBs, flex ribbons, 3D printing and even laser cutting solutions, you're sure to find everything you'll need all in one place. Custom PCBs start from just $5 for a 1 to 2 layer board with a fast 24-hour build time and free shipping on orders over $30. PCBWay also offer aluminium PCBs starting at just $120 per square metre. Check out what PCBWay have to offer by clicking on the top link in the video description or in the top pinned comment and get your project started today. Thanks again to PCBWay for sponsoring the channel. Now let's get back to the video. So this does turn on and stuff, but it just doesn't connect to Wi-Fi, and that's normally going to be down to an issue with the Wi-Fi chip itself on the board. Now the issue with the Wi-Fi chip is that it unfortunately needs to be taken from a Nintendo donor board, or you need to get one that's been taken from a donor board and properly reballed, because the ones that you can buy from, for example, China, don't have the firmware on them that's required to work on a Nintendo Switch. It's really, really annoying, but unfortunately it is what it is. That's just Nintendo for you. They like to lock stuff down, and for whatever reason they decided that they wanted custom firmware on a off-the-shelf Wi-Fi chip. But never mind. Yeah, so this is in really bad condition. It's actually in a lot worse condition than I thought. I wouldn't have paid this much for it if I'd have known just how bad the condition was. But the good thing is it does come with Joy-Cons. The Joy-Cons are worth, what, £30 used for two? Something like that. But I'll put them with another Switch. Like I said, I'll put them with a Switch OLED or something. And it's not the end of the world. I can just scrap this case. I'm not really bothered by it. I do need a board and stuff, and I was originally going to mod this one and put a mod, put a RP2040 on it, but it doesn't really matter. I can just send it to the customer that wants a board, and I'll make profit from it that way. At least then I'll get rid of the board and I actually make use of it, right? Because the housing that the customer's got is in really, really good condition. She's got custom Joy-Cons and stuff like that. So yeah. That screw is nice and chewed, lovely. So yeah, never mind. I'll just have to break the plate to get it off. It doesn't matter. I'm not really bothered. So I'm going to be a bit of a butcher on this in terms of, getting it apart and stuff. Oh, it's already broken. Ha, lovely. Of course it is. Okay, so I'm going to just disconnect this. I don't actually need to remove the heatsink for this. I can have a look here. So what I'm going to do before I do anything on this, I'm just going to give this Wi-Fi chip a bit of a reflow, and the reason for that is because if this Wi-Fi chip has, for example, a few cracked solder balls, a reflow could help. So I'll give that a try first, but I'm going to do it inside the housing because, well, I'm lazy. No, I don't care about this housing. I wouldn't normally do it inside the housing. I'd normally take it out and stuff, but just to save myself a little bit of time and stuff like that, I'm going to do it inside the housing because it's being scrapped anyway or being used for a test housing or whatever, so I'm not really bothered by that. So I'll do it inside the housing this time, but please, if you're working on these, even for yourself, don't do it inside the housing because it will probably melt the housing and you don't want that. Alright, so there's not really any fault finding to do here. This could be down to a cracked solder ball. So like I said, I am just going to give this a quick reflow and just see if that helps. But the chances are I'm going to be ending up replacing this Wi-Fi chip. You can't really do anything for testing on these. You know, you can sit there and test small components, but what's the point really? It's going to be down to the Wi-Fi chip, so you may as well just do that. So I've got my hot air set at 400 degrees Celsius. That's at 40% airflow. I'm just going to preheat this board. And now I'll come in closer. Give it a bit of a tap. And we are good there. So that's reflowed. I'm going to let that cool down. But that should, in theory, be good. Just going to add a little bit of IPA around the edges. Just to help cool it down a little bit quicker. And then I can come in and clean it up. So sometimes a reflow will work. Sometimes it'll need a full replacement. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so let's just pop the NAND back on. We need the NAND to be able to boot up. It won't work without it. Let's just turn it on. Okay, let's turn it on. So yeah, this screen is really, really bad. Like you can see the impact marks and stuff. It is real bad. Okay, that's not going to work with that Wi-Fi reflow. It's taking too long to boot up. It's 100% not going to work. I will test it anyway. Yeah, wireless communication not available due to an error. 2110-1118. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, it needs a Wi-Fi chip. So that means I'm going to have to take one from a donor board and reball it. That's fine. Not a problem. So I've got a donor board just here. Yes, it's a little bit of a mess, this donor board is, but that's absolutely fine. I'm going to just pop some flux here. I'm going to pull this Wi-Fi chip from this donor board. There we are. And now I can go ahead and just clean up this Wi-Fi chip. So like I say, there's not really any diagnostic you can do on the switch in terms of testing components. It's really just a case of replace the Wi-Fi chip and hope it works. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to just pre-tin all of these pads here. And unfortunately I don't have a stencil for this Wi-Fi chip. I lost mine a long time ago and for whatever reason I never replaced it. I really should order a new one. They don't cost much from Amazon either. Sorry, from AliExpress either. They only cost a couple of pounds. So I really should buy a new one, but I'm lazy and keep forgetting. But I'm just going to start to wick this away. There we go. Just clean this up. I'm just going to make sure everything's nice and clean so as it's ready to accept new solder balls. And that it is. I'm not going to lift the chip up because right now there's flux underneath it holding it in place, and that's going to make my job so much easier. So now I'll just add a tad of flux, and when I say a tad, I mean a tad. You really don't need much, just enough to hold those solder balls in place. And then I'm just going to go ahead and drop a solder ball on every single one of these solder pads. And yes, I'm going to be doing that manually. So unfortunately, it's going to take me a little while to do. But I've got 0.3mm solder balls there. You can use 0.25mm, but I like to use 0.3. They seem to fit a little bit better. And I'm just going to manually place a solder ball on every pad. There's about 200 balls there. It seems like a lot, but when you've been doing this for, you know, a few years like I have manually, it doesn't really take that long. But I'll fast forward through this. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do this by hand. Usually you would use a stencil for this, and obviously that would make it a lot easier. But I'll fast forward through it. But this is all I'm going to be doing, is just manually placing a ball on each pad. And boom, just like that, I've reballed it. The magic of editing, eh? So at least you don't have to sit there and watch that. It gets pretty boring. But there we go, that's reballed and ready to go onto the switch. Well, it would be if I didn't just crush one of the solder balls. Damn it! I'll just get rid of this stray ball which has worked its way on. I was trying to clean it up and it's just yeah, it must have just not been fully solidified. Never mind, get rid of that one as well. Alright, I'll just reflow it, it'll be fine. There we are. Okay, right, there we go. So that's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the Wi-Fi chip from this switch, and then I'll obviously install this one. I'm just going to move this carefully. It's still a little bit molten. Alright, so I've got the switch here. Remove the NAND. And what I'm going to do, it's fairly difficult to actually line these up. So what I'll do is I'm just going to mark the PCB, if I can, just where the NAND chip sits, the Wi-Fi chip sits. And it just makes it a little bit easier to line it up. I'm going to try and mark it, obviously without damaging the PCB. Don't know if that mark will stay there or not, but damn it, you couldn't even see that. I am a terrible, terrible YouTuber. Never mind. So yeah, I'm going to get this removed. I'm going to set my hot air at 400 degrees Celsius. Actually, let's go 390, why not? 390 degrees Celsius, 40% airflow. Should allow me to remove it. Again, please don't do this while it's inside the housing like I am. And that's why, because the antenna gets desoldered. Damn it, now I'm going to have to remove it from the PCB, from the housing. That was not meant to happen. Ah, that's annoying. Yeah, so Antenna's come away from the board. I forgot to unplug that, and I really should have unplugged it. Okay, whatever. So I'm going to have to resolder that on before I finish, but never mind. In fact, I'm going to remove it from the housing real quick. Okay, there we go. So it's outside the housing now. I really should have done that to start with. I really should heed my own advice, shouldn't I? But yeah, mistakes happen because of that, and you end up with situations like this where I've now got to resolder the antenna back on, or the antenna connector. I'm just going to add some leaded solder here. It's a very densely populated area, this is. It's not the easiest job to do. And that's why we always go for a reflow first, just in case it is down to cracked solder balls. And I know what a few people are probably thinking now, oh, reflowing isn't repair and all of that, but in the Nintendo Switch, or on the Nintendo Switch rather, it actually can be a very viable repair for a lot of issues. And the reason is simply because the Nintendo Switch suffers with bending issues, and that causes solder balls to become disconnected from the PCB. It's a very widely known issue, and unfortunately there's no real fix for it other than, you know, just reflowing or reboarding chips. It does suck, but it is what it is. Alright, I'm just going to wick this solder away. Okay, there we are. So that's that cleaned up. Okay, so now we're going to just drop a new chip on here. So there's flux on the chip itself, so I don't need to add any more flux at the moment. Just try and line this up as best I can. It looks lined up to me, so it looks like the balls are all on the pads, or at least for the most part. Let's drop my airflow down to 10%. I'm still at 390 degrees Celsius. Okay, that should be in place. So I'll add some flux now. I'm going to increase my airflow to 20%. Give it a tap. It seems to be sat down, and hopefully that's good to go. So now I need to reconnect this antenna. Can I reuse this one or not? I believe so, yeah. Yeah, it should be fine. So the issue was that I just didn't unplug the antenna. Alright. I'll just add a tad of flux there. And I'm just going to keep my hot air moving as fast as possible so as not to melt the plastic. And that should be done. Yeah, there we go. So if you keep your airflow moving really, really quick, you should be able to do it without melting the plastic. It should work fine. It does take a bit of practice to get good at it though. Alright, so I'm just going to clean up. I'll add some more IPA now. Just make sure it's all nice and clean. Make sure there's no flux in the NAND connector, because we've been working in that area. Same with the LCD connector. Otherwise it's not going to boot up. Okay, we've got a load of thermal paste leaking everywhere here. It's fine. I'm just going to clean it all up fully. And in terms of the thermal paste, I'm going to be removing that copper tape because, well, number one, it serves absolutely no purpose, and number two, I want to change the thermal paste that's underneath it. So before I actually rehouse this, I will be removing that copper tape and re-thermal pasting underneath, just making sure that it's all ready to go and it's never going to overheat or anything like that. But there we are. That is pretty much good to go there. There we go. So I'll just pop this back in the housing real quick. Okay, does she turn on? Okay, how quick is it going to be at booting up? Show me that Nintendo logo, please. Or do we have flux in the NAND connector? No, we get a single boot logo. What? Just have a look at this. Okay, it's charging. It's not booting. Uh-oh. Alright, let me warm this NAND connector up and the NAND itself. And then I'll just clean it with IPA. Yeah, it's just a little bit of IPA, a little bit of flux inside the NAND. That's booting up really quick. Are we going to get an internet connection? Yes. Yes, we do. Check that out. It's working. Let's connect to the free internet. There we go. That is working absolutely fantastic. This console is fixed, and obviously I do need to ultrasonically clean this, and then I'm going to put it inside the housing for the customer that wants a board swap and stuff like that. I'll, you know, reuse the battery, I'll reuse the game card module and stuff like that. But yeah, this board is fixed and I can happily reuse it now. I will ultrasonically clean it, make sure that there's no flux inside that NAND connector or anything like that. But other than that, yeah, I am happy, and at least I can make some money. I honestly wouldn't have bought this if it was if I'd have known how bad the condition of the housing was, because this needs a full housing swap. So unfortunately, yeah, that would cost more money, but never mind. There we go. That is working, and yeah, we can call it a job done. So with that being said, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you do have any comments or questions, leave them down in the comment section down below. I'll always do my best to answer, and if you do want to organise a repair, then you can get in touch with me at www.thecodeout.repair. And if you do need any parts and supplies for these, you can get them from my online store, consolefix.shop. So with that being said, thanks very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.